Hello, my name is Rob and I'm an instructor at Simul Academy, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about the upcoming World Cup to be hosted in Qatar. First of all, I'll give a little bit of background about the host nation Qatar and then explain why this tournament is said to be a little bit controversial, and then I'll move on to talk more specifically about the tournament itself, as well as some of the featured teams and players involved in the tournament. Enjoy! So starting with the host nation, Qatar, with a landmass of just over 11,500 square kilometers, which makes it roughly the same as Akita Prefecture. It is the smallest country ever to host a Football World Cup. And the population is just below 3 million people, which means that that's about the same size as that of Ibaraki Prefecture. Most of the games will be held in the capital city Doha, where the newly constructed stadia represent the modern architecture of the city. There have been several issues relating to this World Cup. Firstly, the fact that the tournament itself has been shifted from the regular World Cup spot of the summer months of June and July into the winter season, November and December. This is due to the extreme heat of the summer months in Qatar. This, however, has caused disruption to the regular club football season, especially in European countries where they've had to basically postpone their domestic tournaments for a couple of months while the World Cup takes place. More controversially, however, has been the issue of human rights, particularly regarding migrant workers and their working conditions. Several British media outlets have indeed reported of the terrible conditions in which they are kept and they are working under, and even reported of several thousand deaths from heat exhaustion and accidents occurring around the construction sites of the stadiums and the wider infrastructure. There's also the issue of the restrictions on LGBTQ communities in Qatar, and so due to such issues, there have even been suggestions that certain teams may boycott the tournament. However, while that seems unlikely at this late stage, don't be surprised to see certain teams and perhaps individual players making protests during the competition. So the tournament itself involves 32 countries which qualified through regional qualification processes. These 32 qualified teams are divided into 8 groups of 4, and each team within each group will play each other once. The winning team gets 3 points for a win, and if it's a tie or drawn game, then they get a point each. The total points accumulated after these 3 group stage games means that the top 2 teams from each group will progress to the knockout stage. So 16 teams will progress and 16 teams will be eliminated following the group stage. Those 16 teams qualifying from the groups will enter the so-called second round, which is the first stage of the knockout tournament. Those that progress through that round of 16 match will go to the quarterfinals, the winners of those into the semi-finals, and then finally the 2 teams will reach the final to be held on December 19th. According to many experts, traditional soccer powerhouse Brazil are expected to be among the tournament favourites. Brazil can rely on an array of attacking talent these days, including Vinicius Jr. from Real Madrid, Rafinha from Barcelona, and perhaps most recognisably Neymar, who plays his club football for the star-studded team Paris Saint-Germain. It is the current holders, France, who are expected by many to be the main challenger to Brazil. France won the last World Cup tournament hosted by Russia back in 2018, and many believe that in Kylian Mbappe, they have the current best player in the world. Mbappe actually plays his club football alongside the aforementioned Neymar at Paris Saint-Germain, and Mbappe lines up alongside the current Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema from Real Madrid. A number of other teams could have a chance of reaching the final and perhaps even winning the tournament. Uruguay and Belgium could be considered or classified as dark horses. Uruguay is often competitive during World Cups and indeed was the winner of the inaugural tournament held way back in 1930. These days they can rely on Darwin Núñez among other leading strikers for their potential success. Belgium have been a team much fancied in the past few World Cups due to a so-called golden generation of talented players, including Eden Hazard and Romelu Lukaku. However, perhaps if they're going to succeed in this tournament, they will need Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne to step up as one of the tournament's stars. But what of Japan's chances? Well, in all honesty, it seems like Japan will be one of the outsiders for this tournament. They still rely heavily on veteran players such as Yoshida and Nagatomo, but emerging younger players will have to step up if they stand any chance of getting through the group stage. Their task is made even more difficult by the fact that they are drawn in a so-called group of death alongside previous World Cup winners Germany and Spain, both who could perhaps claim to be among the select group of teams that may in fact go on to win the tournament. Although I don't want to jinx my home country, England, they do stand a good chance perhaps of going far in this tournament with a solid generation of players led by Captain Harry Kane and flanked by some younger talents including Phil Foden. But I've been disappointed so many times in World Cups with England's lack of progression to the later stages that I'm going to not make any bold predictions this time. Anyway, hopefully it will be an enjoyable tournament to follow and to watch. I'm sure there will be dramas both on and off the field throughout the weeks of the competition. I'll be back again to reflect on the World Cup with another short presentation after the tournament's conclusion. So thanks all for watching today and enjoy the competition over the coming weeks.